What's up, everyone? Welcome to First Impressions, where I give you my first impressions on recently released theatrical films. I'm AJ Legend, and this is my guest,
Sean Lettuce.
Sean,
Hello.
the Lettuce Man himself. And we just got done seeing Us, written and directed by Jordan Peele. Yeah. We're going to do our best to keep this thing as
Non-spoiler.
and we're just going to shoot the shit and give you our fresh thoughts on this thing. So I'll let Sean go first, and then I'll come back around with my thoughts, and then we'll give you the wraparound.
All right, so going into this movie, I was very excited about it because it's got all the good reviews. People I know who saw it said they liked it, and I liked Get Out. Now, AJ hasn't seen Get Out yet, and I think he should still go see it.
My sister gave it to me. I just got to watch it. I'm
Yeah,
going to try to watch it sometime.
You should watch it, and I think I liked it better than Us. But Here's my take on Us. So, I think the major problem with Us is that it does not have a clear message. It's not a straight up horror movie. It has horror elements, and I think the horror of it is a personal horror. The personal horror of, I think the takeaway message of this movie is the personal horror that you are your own monster. You are your own worst enemy. And that
it's kind of like the person that you see in the mirror is the one you have to fear the most.
So when you look in the mirror, you can see the monster. There was a mention early in the movie with Elizabeth Moss's character, who was the white friend of Lupita Nyong'o, and she talks about her plastic surgery. And there's a lot about how they're looking in the mirror a lot. And I noticed that plastic surgery comment about, oh, you got work done. But it was the second time she had gotten work done, or maybe the third or second.
I think it was like a second, but.
And I definitely took mental note of that, and I went, oh yeah, that's definitely something.
Yeah. But there's also a line where she says that it's like a small little minute change, though. You know it's like a
right. So you see, I feel like it's we see imperfections in ourselves, and so. There's a lot of looking in the mirror when she's a young child in 1986. She goes to this boardwalk on Santa Cruz Beach, and she goes into this mysterious
it's like a Hall of Mirrors type
Hall of Mirrors, and of course, so she sees herself, but then you don't find out what actually it meant until later on in the movie.
Yeah.
But so basically, the plot, in a nutshell, is this family shows up. And it's their doppelgangers, and then you need to find out, well, why are they here? What do they want? And they are terrorizing them. And then it turns out the whole world has doppelgangers, and so maybe there's a bigger message there. But that's the plot. So it's a case of, did you like it or did you not like it?
Yeah.
Now, for me, I have mixed views on this, and I think it's a pretty good movie. Like, again, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I think it's pretty good. Like, it kept my attention, but there were some points where I was like, I don't know, where is this going? You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
I got that. Like, there's like a lot of scenes that happened, like especially near the end, where it's like, okay, you're faking me out. It's like a lot of fake outs at the end of that movie. Like,
yeah.
Especially when we get to the house, like for their friends' house. Like, okay, it's over. Okay, it's still going. Okay, it's over. Now, and then they just randomly autocut it with like.
Now, what do you mean by it's over?
All right, so this is like when they're driving, right? This is once they have like the what we think is the final scene with the when the girl's on the when they're being attacked, and the sun's coming up, right? So, like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so we're going to get to the wraparound now. We're going to tie it all up. But then it just keeps on going. It's like, then, it's like, okay. Because now they got to wrap the stuff up with the other mother, which I was wondering, it's like, so they're not going to explore that with the clone woman? They're just going to leave that open? Because, I've seen movies where, like, they leave where it ends. And, like, it leaves a lot of things unsolved. And a lot of characters just, like, almost get forgotten about. Especially, like, major ones.
Do you leave this movie having a lot of questions? Or do you leave this movie not really caring?
I think there's a lot of more questions.
Yeah.
There is definitely a lot.
Are you intrigued by what the message that he was trying to say or not? But let me hear what your breakdown. Do you agree or disagree with what I said about the movie?
Well, first, like I do think that there is a lot of there is some of that self-reflection stuff because I think that's what the message of the movie is. Like you were talking about earlier, it's like haves and the have-nots. You know what I'm saying? It's like the people up here take for granted what we have, but the people down there, they don't know what that's like. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
is there a 1%, a 99%, 1% kind of message going on here? Is there a political message in there too? Is that thrown in there too?
There probably is.
Yeah.
There's probably that underlying political message. I would not doubt that for a second.
Yeah. I think there is a class message of maybe a haves and haves not. There's a line that she says, "We had to eat rabbits down here," or whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah, I definitely think that's an element of what's the themes of the movie are.
Especially when you have like the visual references, what we're seeing, like those vague little references. Like, notice how Lupita was dressed in white, right, and she had handcuffs on. We don't gotta go into what that can possibly be meaning. That happened 500.
They wear red jumpsuits. I don't know if that has any significance or not. What do you?
They never really touched on that.
Yeah.
I just think, it's just a costume to wear, pretty much. Maybe you know what it is. It could be like an aesthetic thing. That's
is
how they
that
stand out.
The Jason kind of aesthetic?
Yeah,
you see that?
You need
I think
when you're doing a horror movie, you gotta
Jordan Peele does. He has him wearing the Jaws shirt. Yeah. I think that's an homage.
Which I caught.
I had to do a double take on that. Actually, is that from another kind of horror movie? His name is Jason. There you go. All right, so
like this movie has like a lot of those horror.
I think it has little homages to horror movies that he likes growing up.
I think
sure.
What it is, the scissors. Because you gotta remember, in a lot of horror movies, the killer always has like a
machete knife.
Machete, kitchen
cutting.
knife. Freddy has the cutting, yes. Scissors. Snip, they can cut.
Yes.
So it's like, and they also have that one glove. So
isn't the Freddy Krueger kind of glove? Like they kind of do close-ups on the hand a few times. I think those were a little horror homages.
Yeah. So what I think he was doing with that, I don't think
maybe
he was
fan service,
like,
horror,
like very
horror
vague
fan service.
Yes. So like again, when you do a horror movie, you want to have your villain stand out, so you got to give him like a distinct look. You know what I'm saying? Like, Freddy has the glove and the hat. Jason has the hockey mask. Michael has that blank white face. When you watch this movie, they have the glove, the scissors, the red jumpsuit.
The character Jason was wearing a mask, so I think that's self-explanatory.
You can't get no better than that too.
Yeah. And then maybe I would say there was something to do with that we wear masks, having to do with the self-reflection and how that we might be.
Yeah, because we all wear masks. We all wear masks.
They were taking the mask
we hide ourselves behind the mask.
I don't know. Oh my God! And the doppelganger of the son, his face was burned.
But you know what it is? They kept hinting at that. When you actually look at it, the real son, he kept flickering.
He couldn't get the lighter to light.
Yeah. So it's like, you see that, you see his face. I caught that right away the second he took his mask off. Oh, okay, so that's what could happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's fucking with this lighter, so maybe eventually he got it and he just like got a bad accident.
This movie is well acted.
Oh yeah.
I would say the whole family does a good job. I mean, this movie is a Lupita Nyong'o movie for sure.
I actually think
Winston Duke does a good job with the comedy. I think the movie is appropriately funny, although there were some times where I was like, maybe they were doing a little too much comedy, I thought.
You know what it is? I kind of got flashes of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. So, you know how in Marvel movies, like a serious moment happens, and then they undercut that with comedy?
Yeah.
I got that with this movie. Like, after something like just horrific happens, they undercut it with a forced joke. I think the worst one was when they did the NWA song. Because I just like, oh, are you kidding me?
I liked the joke in the car when they were like, who had more kills? I thought that was a funny joke.
I actually got amusement out of that. I got amusement out of that.
That was funny.
And I like how the dad was like, I got 2.
Yeah. But I won't ruin anymore. But
no.
But that's out of context. You're not gonna get it, but unless you watch the movie. But
the acting was fun though.
The acting was fine. Do you have any objections with his direction?
Well, this is my first time seeing a Jordan Peele movie. Like as we said, I'd never seen Get Out. As a first time, I think he did a good job. I like his cinematography.
So let's just say bottom line, how are we gonna score this thing?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take the themes out of it and let's focus on just how it tells its story.
Yeah.
I think from beginning to end.
Does he tell an interesting, compelling story that you would recommend people to go see this movie?
Well, I was glued to it, so like
I was glued to it too.
I wasn't confused. I wasn't confused with what they were telling me.
Yeah.
The themes I thought got a little lost in translation.
Yes.
But overall, I think he did an effective horror movie. I wouldn't say it's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
No, for sure. No.
I definitely think that, and I told you this, I think he's trying to do a Kubrick movie, but he doesn't understand what a Kubrick
movie
is.
would you compare it to that he's doing then? Or in the style of Kubrick?
I'm saying like in a general sense. You know how Kubrick is like, does a lot of those psychological like play with your head
like a
type thrillers?
Shining? Is that
Yes.
what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it has maybe a little element of Shining in there for sure. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And like I was saying to you before we started this, I feel like there's definitely toward the end an element of a Black Swan in there too.
Yeah. With the ballerina dance, because there's like a lot of flashes to the ballerina dance.
I think you should watch that movie too.
It's on my list.
Yes,
I got too many movies to catch up on.
But okay, so let's get down to brass tacks here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't love this movie, but I don't hate it. I would recommend seeing it, but I'm not gonna give it like a glowing endorsement.
No.
I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 heads of lettuce out of 10.
Heads of lettuce.
I'm gonna give it 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
An 8. Okay, so you give it a better.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm lowballing. I don't know. I feel like 8.
But you know what it is. The story was good.
Yeah.
The acting was solid. It did have
This is true.
It did have genuine scary.
And there was
moments.
plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot, and I like a movie. I do like movies where after the movie you can discuss what were the ideas there behind that movie, and I feel like that makes
like
a
this
good movie.
has some ideas.
If you can't talk about the movie because it's just not that interesting, then that's not a good movie. Yeah, all right. I mean, yeah, 7.5 to an 8, but definitely not higher than that. So
no, I wouldn't say this is like 100%.
I would recommend it. I mean, maybe I wouldn't say you need to go see it in the theater, but I would say you should see it. But it's not a rush right away. No. You don't need to see this right away.
Like, I would give it a wait 2 weeks to watch it in theaters, or you can just
wait till it comes out on streaming or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely worth watching at least once.
It's definitely worth watching at least once. Yes.
Overall, it's a solidly made horror movie. I think Jordan Peele needs to.
I am interested in what movie he would be doing next. I am. I like his.
Actually, from what I've been reading, he wants to do a Candyman remake.
I did hear about that. Yes.
I don't know.
And
how
he's doing Twilight Zone.
I heard about that
reboot.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
No, that's the part of the Candyman.
Candyman. Yes,
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I have to see the original. I haven't seen it.
The first one's great. The second one,
yeah.
I mean, it's I'm trying to. I want to explain without giving too much away. It's definitely an allegory of racism. Candyman is.
Well, no kidding. Then Jordan Peele's interested in it.
Yes.
But
Candyman's backstory is like a little bit more complicated. Mm-hmm. And since you've never seen it, I want to give it away.
Yeah.
His backstory is kind of it's taboo for the time that he was killed in.
Yeah.
And for what he was being accused of doing, what he ultimately did. It was taboo during that time. So without giving nothing away, you just play with that for what it is.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I'll have to watch it. Yeah.
So us, solid 8 out of 10. I thought overall, again, worth watching at least once. Not horrible. I think Jordan Peele needs to do a little bit more fine tuning though.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
He's 2 horror movies in. He knows what he's doing. You know what it is? It's like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith did 2 horror movies in Red State and Tusk. So it's like when you see like a comedian do horror, you're going to be a little, how's this going to pull off? Are you going to make it scary? You're going to make it funny? You can do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. And, it's far-fetched. I'm comparing Jordan Peele to Kevin Smith, of all people, right? But I think they both did an effective job at creating... This movie had good atmosphere. It had a good tension. It had a good build up with its tension. Like I said, it has jump scares, but they're not like cheap. Some are cheap.
It does hold your interest the whole movie. I mean, I think it's overall a success, but it's not like amazing. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like really awesome and I love it. No, but I think it's
definitely
pretty
solid.
Good.
It's solid.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, you can watch this thing on Halloween and you'll get your heart fixed for it pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that
you, whatever. It's your show, so
yeah,
you go ahead. Yeah.
My show. I think that pretty much covers it all. Overall, we came out of the theater pretty much, not loving it, but we didn't hate it. We both pretty much liked it overall. 8 for me, 7.5 for him. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment sections below. If you've seen Jordan Peele's Us, and if you've seen Get Out, don't spoil it, but let me know if it's good or not. Anyway, my name is AJ Legend.
Shawnee Boy Lettuce.
This is Shawnee Boy Lettuce, and I'll check you back next time for more.